Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. And thank you so much for joining us this week. I'm super excited about this week's show because we're going to be checking in on two new stories. Yes, featuring an interview with State Representative, with Halee. And I know her last name, but you all know how I forget things. Hadfield. It's right there on the screen.
Hey,
Hadfield.
Haley.
Look, I was trying to go by my memory. Okay. I was trying to go by my
Oh,
memory tonight. I was trying to be like Aaron. Okay.
I know, right?
And
Well,
we
we just
see,
got to do our
yeah,
own thing.
yeah, we see that wasn't working. So, and also Mr. Greg Williams with Toyota. And we're going to hear a lot tonight with Miss Halee about the Blue Oval worker. And she is an organizer as well. Aaron Gray is out tonight. He will be back very soon, so he's trusting us with the show. So I got a co-host with me tonight and a great producer. So we hope that you enjoy the show tonight, and we hope that he won't be mad at us when he looks at the show, right, Nema?
That's right. I'm just sitting hoping that we can make it through the entire time, right? Without Aaron being like, "What have I done to this show?" Yeah.
So right now we are sorely in need of significant political change in Kentucky. I think everybody can agree with that. And to get it, we need long-term power building to plug more votes into the races that really matter. If you like our governor, which we all do, who is amazing, okay, but you can't stand what the Republican supermajority in Frankfurt has done with their power. We hope you'll support Progress Kentucky in our efforts to fix it. So right now we're focused on fighting back against Trump's MAGA regime. That's right, I said regime, and we need your help. So if you can, make a monthly contribution right now via our secure online website, Act Blue, to help turn Kentucky purple. Blue and red, you mix them together and you get the color purple. If anybody remembers the color wheel when we were back in elementary school. So, if it's $10, $20, $200, we don't care what it is. It all adds up and helps us to do what we do. So in the comments, you will see that. And also the address to go to is right there on the screen as well. So now it's time to check in with my co-host tonight and to let us all know who and where you are, Miss Nema. And I'm so sorry that
No,
something.
you're. Hey,
Wait a
Miss
minute, we
Kim,
had a
it's so
call
good.
come through. That was wait a minute, that was Congressman Morgan McGarvey. So it must be some kind of meeting that's about to happen.
Quit
Okay.
name dropping, Miss Kim. Quit.
Look, it wasn't a personal one tonight. It was like one that a whole lot of people probably got. Okay. So
Well, I'm so glad to be with you tonight, Miss Kim. It's always fun to co-host this show when you're on here, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Parker. And thanks to our guest. I am Nema Brewer with American Federation of Teachers, Kentucky 120, AFT, Fayette in particular, but we are also statewide. Coming to you tonight from my lovely. Is it a lanai? Can I call it a lanai, or is that not what I think it is? Anyway, my patio here in Kenwood, in beautiful northeast side of Lexington, Kentucky. My protest sign today says, keep going. We need to keep going. We need to keep showing up in the streets. I'm so proud of the coalition work that we've been doing here in Fayette County, in particular, on keeping people aware and focused on what the real issues are that's facing our country. And let's be honest, Kim, it's going to affect every person in the United States that's not a billionaire or uber wealthy. And we all have to understand that nobody is immune from this. Nobody, unless you've got stacks of cash and influence. And it shouldn't be that way. So we've got to keep going. We've got to keep fighting. My protest sign tonight says, keep going. Kim, what you got?
you got it. Mine says you better leave Obama alone. That's
Speak.
right. You better leave Obama alone. You better leave no drama Obama alone. Because Trump is
Absolutely.
doing, he is just all over the place. He's showing his cognitive decline. He's showing his stupidity, the ignorance of what we are supposed to call our president. And being the leader of the free world, I think that it's a joke to the rest of the world. I can't even say that right now. But I will say this, you better leave Obama alone because that man still has a lot of power. He has a lot of influence. He has a lot of friends all around this world. And I'm telling you right now, Trump does not want to go up against Obama, saying that Obama actually committed.
I think we've lost you again, Kim.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. That he committed treason. How ludicrous is that? Do you know that it says that treason can be punishable by death? This is serious. Saying that Obama colluded and committed treason in 2016 throughout the campaign, saying that Russia had something to do with it. And we know that Russia has something to do with it. Why do we know that? Because the person who was over that committee that we saw and even said that Russia had something to do with the elections, they were trying to tamper with it, was Marco Rubio. So come on. I think it's all because he wants to deflect from the Epstein files. But I'm happy to also report to you tonight that it came in about 25 minutes or so ago from Daily Beast that the committee, it was Republicans and Democrats alike that voted that the Department of Justice has to turn over the complete Epstein files to that committee. So I don't know why it was such a big deal. They're coming out with all kinds of pictures proving that Trump was, more in cahoots with Epstein, and no telling who else is in there. I don't want a defamation charge, but I don't know who's on there except for that little list they gave us a few years ago. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mitch McConnell was on that list. I mean, I just wouldn't be surprised. So, that's kind of the stuff that's going on. So, let me end on something really, really good for you, though. And then we can talk about it. Okay, Nema? Annabelle.
Absolutely.
Annabelle says, does a third person want to come over, co-host with you guys? And I'm like, we don't need a third person. Nema and I, we like to talk, girl. Like, we
That's
don't need
right. We got
nobody else.
opinions. That's
For
right.
real. We like to talk and, we don't need
Uh,
nobody else. So, our friend who used to be on the show when it was called the Mitch McConnell Retirement Show, and then it moved into Kernels of Truth, and also Councilwoman Denise Gray, she has accepted a position in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, up there near where I'm from. I'm from Zion, Illinois, just an hour away from Milwaukee, as the executive director of the Nia Imani family. It's a nonprofit that provides housing and holistic support for women and families who are recovering from trauma. And we know from what happened last year that Denise went through some trauma herself. And just being born Black and being a woman in America has its own sets of traumas as well. So she isn't perfect, ideal person for this position. So Denise has been a supporter of Progress Kentucky since day one. And really before day one, actually. She was around and highly involved when we were first forming the Mitch McConnell Retirement Committee. I came on a little bit later on. We know that Denise has had a rough couple of years, as I was saying, being elected to the Lexington City Council. And she has been so brave to speak up about things. So I'm talking about, the whole Brenda Manazari. I can't pronounce the last name. I'm sorry if I butchered it, which was the sexual assault and harassment. So here at Progress Kentucky and part of the team of Kernels of Truth, we do wish Denise the best on her journey. We know she's going to just bat it out of the park, so to speak. and we're sending all of our love with her. And we truly do love her in our heart. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. If you've never had the opportunity to meet her before she actually leaves, you want to send her an email or something. She's fabulous. She's like one of my sheroes, I would say. I learned a lot from her when I came on this show. So we really, really are appreciative of Denise. So we talked about three things. We talked about don't mess with Obama. Okay. Them is fighting words. Okay. Do not be talking about no drama Obama. He's not down with that. And also, it led President Obama, who never really responds to anything that someone is saying negative about him. He does not worry about all of that. But when it comes to this type of statement that he's committed treason, he had to come out and say something. So he did submit a tweet out that basically said that normally he would not make a comment. However, because of how egregious it is, I'm paraphrasing everyone, he had to come out and say something. How ridiculous it is, how asinine it is, that we know there's no truth in it. But the real truth, the meat and potatoes of what former President Obama said was this is a deflection from the Epstein files because everybody's worried about the economy. He was supposed to, Trump was supposed to lower the price of eggs. We haven't seen that. Immigration, securing the border. We haven't really seen that. He's just being a tyrant, a dictator, just locking up anybody and everybody, even American citizens. All of these things, healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, which we know, Medicaid is getting butchered. Low income housing, we know that Section 8 is getting butchered. So everything he ran on, and one of the main things he ran on was releasing the Epstein files. So out of everything that everyone is concerned about through various polls, Cook and Wall Street Journal, all these different polls, it has come up that people right now, even more than the economy or potential wars, they are wanting to know what's in these Epstein files. He ran on it, and even his supporters are holding him to the fire that this needs to be released. So we appreciate, I hate to say it, it's hard to say, even the Republicans, that voted to get these files released, that the Department of Justice. And then we also talked about Miss Denise Gray. And of course, what are your thoughts on it, Nema? What are your thoughts about Obama, treason, all of that? What's your thought?
Well, it was interesting, Kim, because you were talked about earlier we talked about how really and truly like this Epstein thing is, I think, got bigger than even I thought it would get. Right. And I think it's because I wasn't so focused. I mean, I'd watched the documentaries, on Netflix about, the woman who's in prison, which it is interesting that the only person that's ever been held accountable for any of these things has been a woman in all of this. That's not lost on me, that here we are, I mean, yeah, she's gross, needs to be exactly where she is, but there's some other people that probably do too, need to be behind bars as well. And I don't think this is a partisan issue. I think that's what we're seeing with these polls that you're talking about, right? But I think one of the things that we forget as working people is that when you have that kind of wealth, a political party is not, you don't care about a political party. Rich people hang out with rich people, and real rich people hang out with real rich people, right? So we're talking, and they don't care what party they are because it's all about money and power. And they don't see a political party as really any means to anything except now, where they want to go in and start doing all this fascism and everything else. But the problem, and so they bought it. They've bought the Republican Party. Let's be completely honest about this. And, and we've seen corporations and universities and other things just crumble, right? At the mere thing of what? Withholding money. This is all about money. And y'all, we ain't got the money and we don't have the power. But what we've seen is I'm like you, Miss Kim. I'm not going to be shocked who comes out in the Epstein files, whose name. Because if you are that powerful and have that kind of money, you probably went to a party. You probably took a picture with him. You might have even went on his boat, maybe his island. But the thing is that the house needs to be cleaned. And I am not playing partisan games with this issue. Release the list. And I'm like you. I appreciate some people who finally realized, you know what? This is bigger than than anything else, because y'all been running your mouth about it for a long time, accusing the people of things. Well, we've got the documentation. Let's see it.
Well,
that's just my opinion.
The other thing, and then we're going to move to the other story, which you have, which is going to be exciting. But, this is the one thing that I do want to say about it. It's just like the P. Diddy freak off parties, the all white parties or whatever. Now, everybody that went to the parties and everybody that went to the Epstein parties and galas on the island, we can't say that they participated in the after hours. Okay.
Correct.
You said you saw documentaries about it, which is true. They showed the island, the shape of the island, and where they kept these girls and did their nefarious acts was on the other side of the island. So we can't say that every time we see Epstein with a picture, they were involved in it. Just like we can't say everybody that was at a P. Diddy party was involved in the freak off. But
correct.
I think it's safe to say that even if they didn't participate, they knew.
I mean, you got to wonder how much you knew and how much you didn't, right? And I mean, and that's the thing. And these are the people that we honestly think that can lead anything in this country. I mean, these are the elites of the elite, right? And I think that, and I say this, and this sounds so weird, but it's kind of true. Like, what else is there for you to afford? They just now they're trading in people, and that's disgusting. But we're seeing there is no level of anything that money and influence can't do. Release them. I'm glad we're going to get to see them. Don't redact that stuff. Don't be dragging,
Now, they didn't say we were going to be able to see it just yet. They said the Department of Justice has to release it to the committee, the committee in Congress first.
Yeah.
Then I think it'll be up to them, but it must be the people that voted for it. They're like, I'm not even involved in it, but I'm sure a lot of people are shaking in their boots right now, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then they want to talk to that Ghislaine Maxwell. They want to talk to her, and because she's the one that knows where every bone is buried.
That's exactly right. That's right.
And they want to talk to her. She got 20 years. She was sentenced to 20 years. They maybe will take some of those years off for her for telling the whole deal. But we have to remember some of the women that have come forth and actually said what they did, who they did it to, and they've been saying that for years. And our supposedly president has been included in that for years, as well as many other people. I mean, I love the Clintons. I'm sorry. I worked for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a special place in my heart for them. However, we all know that Bill was a freak. Okay.
Yeah.
But if he was messing around with underage girls, then I have big problems about that. I
feel the same. Yeah.
With Matt Gaetz, remember?
Mm-hmm.
He was found basically trafficking, bringing these women to islands and stuff, and some of them were underage, but it was swept underneath the rug, so to speak. But maybe we've got some people on deck that can do something about it.
Yeah.
But what do you say?
Well, great segue, great roll in. So we have got more primaries at the federal level. So let's go to the first thing. On the Senate side, what's happened is now people are starting to roll out their finance numbers after the first reporting period. So let's take a peek. Parker, let me see. I've got to get back up. There it is. So here's the Senate candidate fundraising levels so far. In that one, we've got the big names that are going to be Colonel Pam Stevenson on the Democratic side for the Senate race. That would be taking Mitch McConnell's place. And what she's raised so far, Colonel Pam, has been over $225,000. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. That's nothing to shake a stick at. And then on the other, I can't read all those. Sorry, guys, I don't have my readers on. But this will show you the list of who all's running on the Senate side. Now, what we've been hearing, I don't know if you're here in Lexington. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, Miss Kim, in Louisville, but I do know that one of the Senate candidates on the Republican side has been running a lot of campaign ads already. And if I may throw out just a subtle suggestion, let's not do that yet, y'all. Like, I cannot do 16 months of political ads, but I get it, but still, it's too early. Then let's flip over to the congressional side, which is where we've been getting a lot of talking here lately. So in the sixth race, which is Andy Barr's seat that he's vacating to run for McConnell's seat, what we've got some serious candidates in the mix. On the Democratic side, we've got our third addition within the past week. His name is Zach Dembo, and he is reporting that he's raised about 160,000 in his first 3 days. In comparison, Sherilyn Stevenson, former Democratic caucus chair in the House, she has raised 210,000. Klobuchar has raised 138,000, some change, or I guess change if you're raising that kind of money. And that is where we are in these races. But the most interesting entry came in just recently with the return of Ralph Alvarado. Now, for those of you all that remember back or have not blocked completely out the Bevin administration years, you may remember that Senator Alvarado was Matt Bevin's running mate in his loss to Andy Beshear and Jacqueline Coleman in 2019. So, or was it? Yeah, 2019. So ever since then, I kind of got the feeling that he was kind of, had, a little bit, some hurt feelings there. And so he made an exit to Tennessee because, why not? To become their health director or whatever, czar, and in Tennessee. And now he's decided, no, you know what? Wait, now that there's a congressional race going on in the House that I've still kept in Kentucky, I'm just going to mosey on back up the interstate and I'm going to run for the 6th congressional seat because why not? And now, of course, what we're seeing is Trump, Trump, Trump. I'm the biggest Trumper of all Trumpers in the whole Trump universe. And to be quite honest, Kentucky was not sad to see Ralph Alvarado go to Tennessee. And if there was a deal made that happen, then whatever Tennessee got out of that deal, we need returned because he probably needs to stay a little longer than he did in Tennessee. I'm just saying, not an Alvarado fan. Ms. Kim, what are you thinking about rolling out his old bones and trying to, win the 6th congressional on who's the biggest Trumper? What do you think about Ralph Alvarado's entrance into this race?
I don't think that he has a chance. I really don't. I don't. I don't think that he has a chance. I don't think that the people are really wanting him anymore. He's old news. He's, stay in Tennessee. That's where you want it to be. Stay on over there. Now you want to come back and you want to do whatever. All I know is all of them better be talking about the Epstein files because that's the number one thing right now that everybody's concerned about. Like I said, more than the economy.
100%.
And where do they stand with that? Is his name on there?
Yeah, it's just, I don't understand politicians and never will. But it's almost to me like that he's just hopping for whatever seat he thinks is going to be easiest to win. And for me, I'm just kind of like, that's kind of gross. Like, that's not why you should run for office, right? Because you ain't got nothing else better to do. And Tennessee didn't turn out to be as gruesome as you had hoped. I don't know. I mean, Tennessee's a mess right now. So, I mean, who knows? And things might come out about, Ralph's time in Tennessee too. So this is going to be, if it gets ugly, which I don't know if you saw this, Miss Kim, but Ryan Dotson, who was the first person to get involved in that race as a Republican, he's been telling everybody and their mama about the fact that Ralph told him, that he wasn't going to run for that seat. And he has to drive by Ralph's home every day and look and know that his good friend has absolutely screwed him over politically and is getting in this race after he told him he would. Now, let me ask you this, Miss Kim. First of all, why would you believe anything Ralph Alvarado ever told you? If his lips are moving, odds are you're not being told the truth. So, I mean, poor Ryan, right? I mean, here he is. Now he don't have a neighbor to drink a beer with, I guess. I don't know what they do. I will say this. I will say that unless you want a Matt Bevin Jr. back in office, but in a federal level, it's a big fat no for me on Ralphie. Sorry, got a pat hard no. I might go back on Twitter, though, just to make him miserable for the next 16 months. But, we'll see. So, speaking of Ralph Alvarado, Right to Work, and other people who are union busters in politics in Kentucky, let's get to our guest because I'm super excited about this.
I wanted to tell you one thing right
quick. Yeah.
We got a couple of minutes here.
All right.
I do want to bring this up because it's very, very important. There's been breaking news since we all were together last week for Kernels of Truth. Our very own governor, who they say right now is the front runner to run for president in 2028. I cannot believe Anna Wintour, who is the head. I was going to say she's the head woman.
McGarvey's calling you again.
No, these people need to quit calling me. So she is the head woman of the Met Gala, the head woman of Vogue magazine. Can you believe they did an extensive spread in Vogue magazine of our own homegrown governor, Andy Beshear? And it was a great picture in the article that he was in his office and he was saying that to be effective, he has to be like organized. He gets on his treadmill and runs 7 days a week in the morning. He says, when you start like that, you have no other choice but to accomplish and confront all tasks in front of you. And though he also said something funny, a little anecdote he did say he's probably the first one to ever be photographed in Vogue magazine with Gap jeans on. So if you have not seen or read the article, you need to go to Vogue.com. Parker, he did put the link in the comments so you can read that article. It's a very thorough, just a big spread about our governor, one of the premier governors in our country that has won twice in a very, very big Republican stronghold. So I believe he can take the country somewhere. If he could do it here, sometimes being here is what, they say if you go to New York, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. No. If you are in Kentucky and you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So I have a lot of faith in him. So I just wanted to bring that up for our listeners.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Didn't know that our governor was in Vogue magazine. He is risen to the girl. If you get in Vogue magazine, you have risen to the top of the top. Okay, I'm just saying. So let's go head on and get our guests now because I just had, I always got to I'm gonna always be like,
I love the pictures, and you had the Britney leg kick. Did you notice that one where she's got like this? It's like her and Andy in the doorway, and she's like they're kind of facing each other, and she's doing this thing that's like a leg kick. It's so classic. I was like, this is amazing. This picture is amazing. Like that article was just great. And I agree with you. If you could make it in Vogue, I mean, come on, right? So
Girl,
let's
the
talk
pictures with
though.
Michelle and Obama, okay? You know how the
Yeah.
pictures were, okay?
I know.
Mini Obama and Michelle. Okay, there we go. Go ahead, Nema. Go ahead, Nema.
All
Take
right.
over, girl. Take over.
Let's meet. I'm very excited about this. You people who have seen me or heard me talk about this, you know, it's all I talk about, which is everyone deserves a union. Every worker deserves a union. If you're not a boss, you deserve a union. So I'm tickled to death. We've got Halee Hadfield Halee, sorry, is 26 years old and a Hardin County native, and she's coming to us from a manufacturing background and is a former union member. Now she's fighting for better working conditions, accountability, and transparency from the company. She's been at BlueOval since February of 2024, and joining her is Greg, Yankee born but Kentucky raised. All right, Greg, we'll have to talk about what we talking about Yankee wise. We talking about baseball fan but anyway, Kentucky raised my entire life, has been family oriented, has been building, joining, or connecting with communities of all kinds and walks of life. In the last 6 years, it's turned into heavy advocacy for organizing the South. Thank you both for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what's going on and why you guys are organizing. I'm sorry, is it Halee or Halee?
It's Halee.
Okay, so Halee, tell us about what the organizing is looking like right now, down on the ground, boots on ground in BlueOval.
So, to be honest with you, our campaign I'm sitting exactly where I was when we had our very first meeting in June of last year. And if somebody had told me in the beginning of June last year that we were going to have filed for election by January of this year and be 3 to 4 weeks away from having our election, I would have told them that they were crazy. And yet here I am. It's a lot of late nights, a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. My phone's going off constantly. Getting text messages with invitations to participate in things like this, which I'm really grateful for. And again, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. But it's crunch time, essentially. We are dealing with the same things we have been the entire time, just all of the union busting and all of the anti-union crap that the company is trying to throw at people. But people like me who have been union members before, we know what the union difference is. And we know that having a union means that you get to have not just a voice like the company says you get, but you get to have a functional voice in your workplace because you have contractual obligations, not just from the company, but from your local as well. Everyone is beholden to a set of rules. And if somebody breaks those rules, there are consequences, period.
Absolutely. Greg, what's it looking like on the ground from your angle?
Oh wow. Well, it's a giant beast to tackle, right? Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky is not just part of the largest auto manufacturing company in the world, but the largest automotive plant in the entire world, full stop. So when it comes to organizing 8,300 workers under one roof, that's quite a big deal. We saw a huge boost to our campaign at the end of 2023 with the UAW strike. It created a massive benefit for us. And we're still kind of pushing towards that. I think right now we're laying more groundwork to spread out more equally because I think there were pockets of just exceedingly heavy supporters. And then there were areas of the plant that we just hadn't reached yet by the sheer size. So I want to make sure that everybody's on board because the entire point of all this is to make sure that we all get a voice. And we need to make sure that everyone's being reached by this.
Absolutely. So when you guys, first of all, congratulations on being this close to getting this first contract, this deal. I mean, it's massive. We are organizing in Fayette County right now, and you know this is going into year 3 of actually being really dug in. You know, but when you're building something from the ground up, which is what you both are doing as well. It is a massive undertaking because you're going up against, we've never done it that way. Or you're going up against, well, we've been just fine without this for forever. Or things have always been okay the way that we used to do them. And so talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about some of the conversations that you're getting as far as like why this is important for people to join the union and why it is more important now than ever that working people stand together to consolidate our power, because we're seeing more and more and more that the power is going more and more and more to the highest earners, the highest 1%, the billionaires, the CEOs. Talk a little bit about that, if you all don't mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. I want to talk. I guess this is more like why Toyota really needs a union, right?
Yeah.
We build cars for the biggest auto manufacturer in the world. I'm certain that every day our management, Carrie Creech, some of the other vice presidents around the plant, their giant farms, I'm certain they feel like they're on top of the world in Kentucky every day. I don't see why workers shouldn't get to feel the exact same way. We know the difference that comes from union work. We're very aware of Ford and their Kentucky truck plant and the other UAW plants, the differences in healthcare and costs and benefits. And I'm certain you don't hear phrases from Ford and Louisville like Camrys before families. And that's the big difference here is we want to feel like we matter more than just the product. We want to build a good product, but absolutely we need to have control over our own lives, not feel like we're trapped or controlled.
Absolutely. Halee, what about you? What have you been hearing from the workers on why this is so necessary for BlueOval?
So from the worker standpoint, at least dealing with like my immediate coworkers on the production floor, in quality labs, just across the plant, for a lot of people, it's I don't feel safe and I don't feel comfortable working with some of these chemicals and being exposed to some of these things when I don't feel like I really understand what it is, what its impact is on my body. I don't feel like I have the correct PPE or the proper PPE to be handling all of these things. And it's concerning for a lot of people. So that's one conversation. Other ones are like, I came here because I thought I was going to have free health insurance, and I'm still stuck paying like anywhere from $230 to almost $300 a month for me and my spouse, or me and my kids, me and my whole family, etc., when that's not what brought people here. I came to BlueOval SK from working at General Electric, the appliance park in Louisville, and I thought I was going to have free health insurance. I initially took a pay cut because I thought I was going to save money on my health insurance, and that has yet to come to fruition. Another thing that a lot of people bring up is, oh, well, I don't understand how Ford is part of this joint venture, but we don't have all the same benefits as Ford. And the company is quick to tell people, well, that's because we're not Ford. And so a lot of my coworkers are saying, I don't really care because Ford is one of the parent companies. Where are the benefits at? Where is my health coverage? Where is my profit sharing? And yes, there is like a bonus structure of sorts with BOSS. That's what we call it for short. There is a bonus structure, but for material handlers, production, and quality, we get 2% in June and 3% in December. People who work at Ford, people who work at Kentucky Truck Plant and Louisville Assembly Plant, they get profit sharing that's based on how many billions of dollars of gross revenue the company gets on an annual basis. So if the company grosses $10 billion, everybody gets a check for 10 grand. And even though it gets taxed at 40%, you still walk away with $6,000 you didn't have before. That changes people's lives. That would pay off half of my car note right now. I'd love to have that. I need that. A lot of us do.
You need that.
Everybody needs that. Everybody needs a union.
Yes, they do. And I do believe in unions, most definitely. I come from Macy's, and even though I was an executive for Macy's, I saw a lot of the conditions that our hourly colleagues would go through. HR has never been for actually the people that work there ever. I saw a lot of the discrimination. I saw so many things that go on at Macy's. Now, do they have a few stores that are union? Yes, they do. The big one in New York, San Francisco. There are some stores within the Macy's network that are unionized, but a lot of people are scared to organize, and they don't understand how it can enhance their lives and have more of a work-life balance, have more safety precautions, have more camaraderie within the organization. So I want to ask you guys, if Toyota and Ford continues to block your efforts, can anything be done at the federal level? That's what I'm wondering. Unfortunately, the National Labor Relations Board, known as NLRB, I have to get that right, has, according to a recent article in the periodical called The Nation, in keeping with the priorities detailed in Project 2025, which we all know nothing was good for any of us in 2025 in this project, the new administration, the new regime, excuse me, has been refashioning the NLRB to be what an anonymous staffer termed as a hammer that employers could use against unions. In other words, how can I put it? Under the Trump administration, the NLRB is doing the exact opposite of what it was established to do. And since Trump fired one of the commissioners, of course, there's actually not enough commissioners to be able to vote to take an official action, I believe. So it just seems there won't be much support for your campaign at the federal level. Is that a fair statement, or do you all feel differently underneath this quote unquote supposedly administration on that federal level? What do you guys think? Halee, you go first, and then Greg, I'm interested to hear your comments on that.
Personally, my opinion on the matter is that at the federal level, because of the hard shift towards fascism, because of the weaponization of certain government departments, because of the utterly disgusting slashes to certain aspects of our government, there is nothing to be done at the federal level to help us further our campaigns, our bids for unionization, any of it. There is nothing to support workers that can be done legally. And I do mean legally, because the only other options will probably put you in prison. I'm just, I call it like I see it.
No, I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't need to go to jail today. Yeah, but you know,
I'm scared of jail.
A possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. Greg, what do you think?
You know, if we're going to go all the way back to the 1935 NLRA, right, that established the NLRB, I think it would be remiss to speak on that act and not bring up the Taft-Hartley Act of 1937 or 1947. Sorry, that was probably a great 12 years for American workers, but I think things are working exactly as they're intended to now. There are tons of bureaucratic red tape to jump over for unions in modern America. We have to get 30% of the total population to sign cards. We have to ensure a 50% plus vote of every attending voter. We have to go up. We have to go to war against company propaganda, literal billboards, employees dragged into private meetings that are not legal per the NLRA. And we are constantly filing unfair labor practice violations against these employers. It doesn't scare them. So at the end of the day, when I think about whether federal support is going to come, I'm more leaning towards the fact that this is always going to be a worker movement. It's always going to require the workers to be the ones standing up. And at the end of the day, from an automotive worker perspective, though that act came from auto workers sitting down on the lines and showing them we're not building your product anymore until we're treated like human beings. And I think we're at a point where that might need to happen again.
No, I agree. And I don't see, you know, one of the frustrating things on our end is seeing the people who say that they support unions until a union shows up at their door. And that to me has been the frustration, right? Because it's like supporting the unions is more than just going to a Labor Day picnic, right? And eating a hot dog. It is being involved in your community. That is what union is your community. I grew up United Mine Worker daughter. My dad was vice president of his local, and you know, it was truly community. We built the hospitals. The United Mine Workers did in Eastern Kentucky that they're getting ready to take away. We, you know, built ball fields. My dad and them helped, the union helped build the nursing facility for folks who needed more care than their families could provide. These are the things that unions do. Union is community. And I think growing up in a union, I know the power and know what can be done. Unfortunately, modern day, since Reagan, it's been really downhill. But I believe we're on the comeback. There's more and more people that are organizing or asking, how do you organize and how do we get this done? And I'm excited for you guys. Let us know, please, how we can help you in any way here in Lexington and nationally with American Federation of Teachers under the AFL-CIO, how we can support your all's efforts in these two areas, because again, everyone should be union. It does not matter. We are all working people. So let us know. And also, how can the community support you guys right now? Because that's really it. You've got to, the community has to support you as well. So how are you all seeing them? And what can our communities do? People watching, listening, what can they do to support unions? Not just in name and on Labor Day, but 365 days out of the year.
Did you want to lead, Halee, or?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, one of the big asks that we've had throughout our campaign is if you go to church, if you're a business owner, if you are a teacher and you're allowed to write stuff on the inside of your window, get a window marker, get a sign. I don't care what it is, but write something, put something up in your window so that people in the community come by your business, by your church, by your classroom window, and they see something about, we support Bosch workers, we support Toyota workers, because like we discussed earlier, being a union member, having a union is what built and maintained the middle class. Once unions started getting the boot really hard, the middle class died. We haven't had an effective middle class in this country for 50, 60 years. And I think that's a big push for a lot of people. They understand the history and they are trying to find an avenue to go back to that. So public support, even if it's just a sign in your window, we support Bosch workers, we support Toyota workers. Because that's going to be a conversation piece. It's going to encourage people to come ask, well, what's Bosch? It's BlueOval SK. It's a joint venture between Ford Motor Company and SK On out of South Korea. They're going to build batteries to put in EVs for Ford and maybe for Nissan. We don't know yet. I know SK inked a huge deal with Nissan to make batteries for their cars. So we'll see what happens with that. But the idea is to get people to start talking about it, start asking questions. Who are these people? What do they do? Why do they want a union? What is the issue? What is going on here? Because the best way to start that conversation is to make people wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I might put it on my truck, on the back of the window. Support Toyota workers and support, BlueOval. And we can put it on our union hall, right? Downtown Lexington when people drive by. And we'll do that. We'll get some whatever. And we'll set it out on the socials, but we can absolutely do that to where people can drive by and even say, what are they supporting them for? Because even if people start talking, then they might Google, what's going on, and so I agree. And we'd be more than happy to do that. Yeah. Greg, what you got?
I'm sorry.
No, go
ahead, Halee. Keep going.
I will tell you that if people Google BlueOval SK, some of the first things they're going to see are articles about us dealing with bats and mold in a decommissioned middle school where we were put. They're going to see a Courier Journal article that came out on Mother's Day this year, where I was quoted saying, I may as well mix some of this active material with water and drink it with the direction that we are headed. One of my coworkers got electrocuted last week just trying to unplug something from a wall. One of my friends fell and tripped on scaffolding and broke his hip. Someone is going to have to die inside that plant before they are bothered to care. That's all I have to say about that.
And it don't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't, and it shouldn't be that way.
If someone dies, I don't think they care. I don't think they really care if someone dies. A friend of mine, it's been many years when Toyota first came, to Georgetown. Her husband died on the job. And they gave her a couple of million or whatever it was and shooed her away. And she couldn't talk about it. So if things haven't changed from 20 plus years ago, and someone actually, I know for a fact, I remember her husband knew him very, very well, that he was a young guy, early 30s. And he died on the job because of their fault. So, we're still here. So I don't even think these big companies matter. And I do want to say this right quick because I want to hear what Greg has to say on your question. But to piggyback on that, something that is prevalent in a lot of our minds, is there ever a fear that BlueOval SK and Toyota will take a stance like Amazon, like, whatever, we'll bring in some robots. Like, they don't take a break. They don't have, do you ever have that in the back of your mind? So, Greg, let's start with you to answer, Nema's question as well as that one as well.
Yeah, I might need to have you remind me on the second question again because I've been a little focused on Nema's, but thank you. I think we all, I hope, know our history in Kentucky of, the Hardin County coal wars and which side are you on, written by Florence Reese. I mean, we have a president at Toyota who claims being born in Hardin County, and he felt comfortable enough to send an article that he wrote to the Herald Leader about how he doesn't think us workers want to be unionized. That's not what I hear on the floors. He didn't ask me or anyone else that I've been talking to, but he seems to feel pretty strongly that way about speaking for us, not to us. You're asking what could be done to help us out. I want to hear from any viewers or anyone else that wants to support Toyota. I want them to be talking to each other. If they have a union, amazing. I want to meet you guys. I want to see you or hear about what you're doing. I want to attend your events and find out what's been working for you. And if you don't have a union, please start talking to your coworkers. Find a way, find one thing you agree on, even if the boss has divided you over every single other issue. Find that one thing that you all agree on and just start organizing about it, because we need every single one of you come 2028. Like, we are pushing so hard for a united Labor Day with the rest of the world, not just America. It needs to be the workers first again, not just the CEO getting paid.
Absolutely. Greg, I'm going to get your number from, I'm going to get both of y'all's numbers if that's okay, from Aaron and Annabelle, so I can, because I would like to keep in touch, especially Greg, since you're so close to us. And Halee, I want to hear your all's progress. And if you ever need any help, we'll try to get there. I know we're going this, since we're talking about unions, I'm just going to plug this real fast. And but there is,
I still want to know how they feel.
Oh, sorry.
Do they have that slight fear sometimes? I know that I was on the Democratic local party here in Jefferson County, and we have a specific person that deals with all of the unions that are here.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my best friends, her husband was over the Steelworkers Union. So I know a few things. I've never been in a union in my life, but I've been around unions. And I know that there's been some chatter amongst people in unions about, do we just go all out, or do we have to be even more strategic, because we don't want to be like Amazon, where, Bezos and all them are like, well, we don't really, we'll fix some stuff, but we don't care about all that. We'll just bring robots in.
To be honest with you, that's not even a slight fear. I'm terrified of that. I've seen how automated some of these things can get, and with the advent of AI and development, no, that I'm terrified of that. And frankly, once we win our first contract, I want a fat clause that is airtight. You cannot and will not replace these human workers because you pledged 5,000 jobs to Hardin County. You will not replace these people with robots. Period. End of story.
They did that on the port. Remember when everybody was afraid on the East Coast, the ports and stuff, and the real deal was about they were going to just strike, remember? And everybody was so scared, like we weren't going to get certain foods and stuff and medicines. And the big deal was about
less
them
than
bringing
48
AI.
hours.
Yeah. So the companies, they backed down and said, no, we do not want that strike. So I think there is a place that you still have the power. What about you,
Absolutely.
Greg? Real quick. Yeah.
I'm not afraid at all, to be honest. I watch those robots work every single day, and I watch them break down more than the human beings that are being punished physically every single day. I used to work in repair at fixing the mistakes that robots made every single day. I'm not personally scared, at least not in America. I know they claim to have fully automated plants in China. I don't think we like to copy anything that they do, so I think we're pretty far behind in progress. In that way, if we really are going to get to unmanned factories anytime soon, I fear I won't get to see it in my lifetime, unfortunately. I would
In
love to see
China, they
human
had the
beings
one
not
that
do
was.
that.
Plus, in China, they had. Did you all see that robot that was trying to fight everybody?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that's scary right there.
Well, I know the Ford CEO recently went to China and Ted said that he was completely humbled by the automobile factories over there. But currently, I know we've blocked any kind of integration of their vehicles into our fleets or consumer base. So I think for now we're okay.
Kernels of Truth, you get the truth. You
Yep.
get the
There you go.
real deal Holyfield on Kernels of Truth. So you guys tell us, how can, the rest of us, Nema, she's got the inside track. Even Senator, Gerald Neal wants to talk with her. So he said, when she's in Frankfurt, tell her to stop by the office. I want to talk to her. And I said, oh, yeah, really? Okay. So, but for the rest of us, how can we get in touch with you guys to become a part of the movement that you all are doing, that we really, really appreciate you guys. You speak for so many people.
I know for my campaign at BlueOval SK, we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Our Facebook is Joining Together for a Better Boss. You can go and like it and go look at all of our posts and connect and engage with us there. And our Instagram page is Stand Up Boss. You can go and look at some of the posts and stuff that we've made there. It's not been super busy because like I said earlier, it's crunch time. We're trying to get ready for this election because it is coming fast. So we've been kind of swamped dealing with other stuff. I'm not super worried about social media at the moment, but if you would like to connect with us, Facebook and Instagram, that's a great way to do it. I'm not sure because I think it's one of our staffers that manages our social medias for us at the moment, but you could reach out to them and say, hey, I want to talk to Halee. I want to talk to Emily. I want to talk to Tabitha. I want to talk to whoever, and they will let one of us know so that we can get in touch with you all.
Okay. What about you, Greg?
I don't know that we're at the personal socials page for the movement yet. I know you can definitely contact the UAW, or you're welcome to. There's a TMMK for UAW Facebook page that we do have. It's not getting a ton of action right now because right now we're laying groundwork within the plant, boots on the ground kind of stuff. But if you're trying to reach out to me, I'd be happy to give you my personal contact info. If the viewers are looking for that, I'd be happy to take any emails at gregjosephUAW@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Love this. I mean, I have learned so much tonight. I appreciate you guys. I thank you all for being on the show tonight. I know that you'll probably be booked to come back on here again to see the progress. And unions are the backbone of our country. And people need to stand up and really be serious about it. And I don't think that a lot of us understand how the government and other corporate entities are trying to get rid of unions, actually, so they can have, abhorrent work conditions. And I mean, bats and girl, I couldn't even work there. Hey, okay, it worked my nerve. I'd be on workman's comp for nervous breakdown.
But I'm gonna just real quick tell you, I watched a bat chase a girl down the hallway. I swear, I saw a guy. I don't know if it was down inside of his boot or if it had just fallen asleep on top of his boot, but he had to very carefully move a bat that had just made itself at home on his work shoes at this decommissioned middle school. And I'm like, where the hell did I come to work? What is this? What is this?
What is it? But I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you what it's not. We're going to do everything that we can do. You got Nema on your side. When you got her on your side, she gets stuff done. Okay. I was going to say another word, but we have a person that might not be 21 or over, Mr. Parker, but she gets stuff done. Okay. She gets stuff done. And I just appreciate you all being on the show tonight. make sure you come back on, and you all have a great rest of your week. How about
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Thank you
Yes,
all so
ma'am.
much
Thank you
for
for having
everything.
me.
Absolutely.
having
Hard
us.
work.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
absolutely. Good luck, y'all.
Thank
I
you.
want
Thank
to
you.
tell everybody about Annabelle.
Yes.
Annabelle Lake. Yes, she was recently featured on Kentucky Forward with Bruce Maples. I love Annabelle. She is like, I mean, I feel confident when I know people like Parker and Annabelle because I'm getting older. I'll be, 58
Yep.
this year. I'm closer to
What?
60. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I'll be 58 in November. So, I start looking at our youth, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
I look at Bruce, when I look at Parker and I look at Annabelle and I see what they're doing, I feel a lot more comfortable with
Amen.
the way, yeah, they are there to shape the world. So we don't
Yep.
particularly have a call to action tonight, except for make sure that you are giving to Progress Kentucky. Uh, Make sure that you check out those Facebook pages that Halee and Greg mentioned. They're very, very important. And I'll go ahead on and close us out. It's been
All
a
right.
great show tonight. We've talked about don't mess with Obama. That's right. Them is fighting words. Don't mess with my baby. No, I'm just don't mess with my baby. Okay, don't mess with Obama. Talking about he's committing treason. So we've had a great evening. So Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit organization registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State and organized as a 501c4. We are affiliated with the Indivisible Project and the Commonwealth Alliance for Voter Engagement, known as CAVE. And we're also proud members of the Forward Kentucky Network. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. Please join us next week for our 221st episode. We will be joined by
Woo!
April Vernon, a Medicaid advocate. Our production of episode 220 was by our very own wonderful, amazing, great, gonna go places. I hope he remembers us when he gets to the top, Nema, okay? Mr. Parker Williams, Nate Orshan, our favorite guy here. He wrote and performed our theme song. You can find more information and music of his at natosongs.com. Everybody say it with me, natosongs.com. If you miss our weekly live stream on Facebook or YouTube, audio podcasts and our show notes are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and just about wherever you get your podcast. And if you do listen to the pod, please, please, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening right now. And I meant to tell Greg and Halee to put this episode everywhere they possibly could, get all of their friends, family, all the people they work with to look at this episode because it is so incredibly important. I thank you, Nema, for being my co-host tonight. It's always fun when we get together. I hope Aaron is okay with this episode. And for everybody else, thank you to our listeners and our viewers, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you right here, same time, same channel.
See ya. Thanks, Kim.
Bye.